out now.
Don't call it a comeback, ladies and gentlemen, but the Gaming Etc. podcast, episode 66, alive and in the flesh. I am here with special guest host, longtime fan, Wumbo223. How's it going, Wumbo? Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Special guest host?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you been on before? Did I forget an episode that you were on with us?
Almost every single episode. With the
that's so
51.
Crazy. Oh, that's so weird.
Almost crazy. Yeah, it's almost like we haven't had the show in about 2 months. Hey, everyone.
I think I ran into you at the Gaming Etc. offices one time, and I signed your shirt or something. I don't know. Yeah.
You signed it in black Sharpie, and I can't really see it. So.
You know what, Wumbo? No one ever said I was smart. Okay, I have a lot going for me. That is not one of the things. Being smart.
True.
How you been, bud? What's going on?
Well, life, actually. If you haven't been keeping up with my YouTube channel, or whenever I barely ever post my Twitter, I moved. So you're actually live in Wumbo's room right now, believe it or not.
Wumbology Studios.
Wumbology Studios is kind of dead. But
hey, Wumbology Studios 2.0. That's just the name of your apartment.
Yeah, 3.0.
You know, it's really
there's a huge history about Wumbology Studios that kind of went downhill, but
I'm sorry. You know, it's really easy to file for an LLC and just become a business, and then you could sign your lease as Wumbology Studios 3.0. You can do it. You could do it. I'm just saying, like, it's not that hard.
Oh man, no. Unfortunately, that ship has sailed. My name's already on the lease, but
don't do that.
That would have been fucking hilarious.
It would have been something.
Put my name on the lease. I could build credit with that. Anyways,
it's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways, let me just give a little bit of an update of what the fuck has been going on.
Do it. I'm going to cut you off real quick. I want to make sure you talk, but I just want to say hi to Kryoto, Gabe, Sauzer, and Kitten in the chat. To anyone who hasn't been to Gaming Etc. before, how the show works is it's a podcast between Wumbo and myself. About every 5 or 10 minutes, we'll go through the chat and we'll catch up on messages, but we're not reading them as they're being sent because this goes on YouTube later. So we promise we're not ignoring you. We are going to read your message. We're just not going to do it as they come in, just to keep the flow of the show kind of going. Anyways, Wumbo, I apologize.
And also, this is essentially an extra stream because you're streaming something afterwards around 8 p.m. your usual time.
Absolutely. Team Fortress 2 later tonight. That's not changing. We're doing this in addition to that.
Yeah. Anyway, new audience every time I come in. We used to do the show every Sunday.
That's true.
Very true. And unfortunately, it kind of stopped after a while.
The network canceled us. They were like, hey, your ratings aren't high enough. And we were like, hey, this show will stop when you pry it from our cold, dead hands. And that's what they did. They took it from our cold, dead hands. But here we are again.
Well, yeah, kind of. More like work and moving.
That's
kind of that too. I really wanted to do an episode on the first anniversary of the Switch. But unfortunately,
dude, oh my God, Switch! I mean, I know you and I haven't talked in a month or two, but Switch is still killing it. Like it hasn't lost any momentum. It's incredible. I'm sure we'll get into it later tonight.
Oh yeah, of course. We're gonna be talking about the Switch a little bit in this episode. Also, just a little bit of context on my YouTube channel, which, in case new people, I do have a YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure my links are in the very bottom of my face, or on the side of my face. I forget where.
YouTube.com/iwumbo223 or Twitter.com.
Which I actually said it like that actually. So.
Oh, the custom link, you got it.
Yeah, I finally got it. Finally got it set.
You know, I don't want to be the guy who throws the stone from the glass houses with people that are scared inside. But YouTube used to give custom links to everybody, and I feel like the restrictions have gotten more. I got youtube.com/nostalgia before the restrictions got worse, so I got to keep it. But like,
I got back in my very old YouTube channel, I put it was called E-Day Reviews.
This is before Boomer Reviews? This is even before
This was Boomer Reviews was originally called Everyday Reviews.
I did not know this.
And then I realized that was a stupid name because Everyday Reviews. Yes, that sounds like a great idea because I'm reviewing every day, right?
Oh yeah, that's totally easy. It's not like it takes 25 hours of work to make a review video or anything. No, it's fine. It's good.
Speaking of reviews, I should mention I did plan to make a review this month. I was planning to do an April Fool's Day video.
Sure.
Unfortunately, though, when I had a free weekend to actually record gameplay, I noticed a little thing on my capture card. It's broken.
That's not good.
That's almost $150 for an Elgato Game Capture HD. So I'm going to. So it's either I fix it myself or buy a new one. So for the time being, Boomer Reviews is on hiatus until I get that fixed. But maybe my next paycheck, I'll have some disposable income and buy a new capture card. But it just, I really wanted to make some reviews, and it kind of sucks. But
until then, we're gonna put up black screen, white text at the end of every Gaming Etc. episode, Wumbo's reviews will return. And just leave it there. And just tease, kind of, we're building out the cinematic universe of the...
I've been watching a lot more Marvel movies lately, because for some reason FX had a marathon of all the...
probably because Infinity War is coming out. They're probably getting as much mileage out of it as they can, yeah. But...
For some reason, FX was having a marathon of the Iron Man movies. All three of them.
Iron Man 3, when I first saw it, people in here are probably like, why aren't they talking about video games? That's the show, everybody.
That's the show. That's the show. Tangents, but...
The first 15 minutes, it's about nothing, and then the final hour is mostly about nothing. But anyways, Iron Man 3, when I saw it, I had like this weird like crisis of humanity of like, I knew exactly what this movie was supposed to be, and then it wasn't that, and I was very, very like messed up. But sitting on it over time... Iron Man 3, really good movie, really underrated movie. It's kind of this weird Shane Black, kind of die-hardy, like Iron Man flick. It's really interesting.
I've never seen it, actually. I saw Iron Man 1 and 2 in theaters.
Okay.
Which was, it was a special experience, because we knew that this cinematic universe, or I didn't even know the cinematic universe was going to be a thing until The Incredible Hulk came out after Iron Man, and we saw, and at the ending scene you see Iron Man there.
Yeah.
So
in the bar with General Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah.
Wait, what?
In the bar at the end of Incredible. Yeah.
I've not seen Incredible Hulk in a long time.
It's like, what if we told you we were putting a team together? And then, which actually doesn't make sense. Oh wait, no, I guess
it kind of sort of,
because Nick Fury stops by Tony's place at the end of Iron Man 1, right?
Oh, and the end of Iron Man 1, yes. But the whole Incredible Hulk movie has been kind of retconned to something different now. It's still considered part of the series, but it's also kind of not really.
Well, in Incredible Hulk, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was made before Disney acquired Marvel Studios. So
yes, this was this. In fact, Iron Man 2 was the last. I mean, it was released after the Disney takeover, but when it was made, it was before the Disney takeover. So it's a lot more. And watching Iron Man 1, I noticed this. It's a lot more edgier than what you see now in the MCU.
It's also more character focused. I feel like they're going way more towards the ensemble cast, like as each movie goes on, which is fun, and the spectacle behind it's cool. But when you have Infinity War and they're promoting 22 main characters in the posters, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, so Spider-Man's going to get like what, 3 lines in this whole thing? Like what's, we're
going to be talking about Spider-Man later in this episode as well.
Ooh.
But aside from the MCU, which I guess we're going to be when Infinity War comes out, I'm probably going to see it in theaters.
Yeah, I'm going to wait to see it with my brother when I go back home at the end of May. But yeah, I'm excited.
I'm kind of interested. I've been watching. I also finally got around to watching Thor Ragnarok. I'm probably going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 because it's on Netflix.
I was going to say, you have no excuse on Guardians, because that's one's been on Netflix for a while.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Ragnarok yet. I heard really good things.
It's like it looks
all like weird and hypo colored and oddball and fun, and I was like, yeah, I'm totally on board.
It's much better than Thor 2.
Thor 2 is arguably the worst movie in the MCU.
It blew.
Yeah, it's just boring. It's not even a broken or terrible movie. It's just so boring.
The only 2 things I remember is, and this isn't spoiling anything because everyone knows he comes back to life. Loki dies supposedly, which is bullshit.
You can't kill Loki.
And Captain America makes a cameo.
It's true. Well, Loki,
Loki plays as Captain America. It's pretty funny. Anyways, I'm going to catch up with the chat.
I would love to catch up with the chat. Kuryoto says, what's this, an extra early Nos stream? Yeah, Gaming Etc. Of long lost fame. We used to do this every Sunday. And for a while there, we did like an episode or 2 and then took a month off just because our schedules weren't lining up. But we're going to do our best to make this time frame work. And
I'm going to try my best to actually make this Sunday.
Well, and Wumbo, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you and I have this wonderful like anti-synergy where like when you're free, I'm not, and when I'm free, you're not. Like it's neither of our faults. It's just it always works that way. So like people ask, especially Jacob, like I know you all love Gaming Etc. and we appreciate that, but Jacob's the person who asks me the most. And he's like, what's going on with it? And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just we both have lives and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might move it around a little depending on what our schedules are, but we're going to try and bring the show back.
Because I'm actually much more free on Saturdays.
Saturdays were good for me, yeah.
But we'll give it time.
Right.
Anyways,
Gabe says, I got so confused for a second. I joined and remembered it was Gaming Etc. It is Gaming Etc.
Yeah.
So also
fan-made game. Yeah, fan-made games is actually going to be our topic for the night because of this wonderful fan base right here.
It's true. Gabe says, I bet FNAF is going to be on here. You would lose that bet, actually.
Yeah, FNAF's not going to be on here, sadly. Let's see, or at least in my pick. Jacob says, Wumbo, what you need to say about the rumors the show has been on hiatus because you were holding out for the bigger contract.
They're true.
There's no contract.
They're true. All of it. Wumbo was going out there trying to double his payment, and the executive who remained nameless was like, no, Wumbo, double your ratings. And he was like, no, you double my money. And they were in a holdout. And I was just sitting there like the little kid in the divorce. And I was like, why can't mommy and daddy just play nicely? But Wumbo was like, give me that cheddar. Give me that big old paycheck. And it just didn't happen. So here we are, how the mighty have fallen.
Perfectly good reason why, yeah. Anyways, Kitten Bacon Milk and Cat?
Is that not an awesome name?
That is an awesome name.
Kitten Bacon and Milk Cat. It's true.
All right, Kitten says, I remember a really old Iron Man video game. It was fun.
I don't think I've ever played an Iron Man game.
I had Iron Man for the PSP. It was based off the first movie, and it sucked.
Do you remember? I think we've talked about it on this show, but do you remember the Incredibles game in the GameCube generation?
I have it for the PS2. I think
it probably was the same one.
It's probably the same game.
That was a fun game. Like you played as all four of them. There was like a running level as Dash, then like a brawling level as Mr. Incredible. It was fun.
I did, however, play Incredibles: Rise of the Underminer.
Oh yeah, how they like teased the direct sequel, and then freaking 14 years go by or whatever, and the movie's still. We're finally getting it though this year.
Yeah, I know. Which one thing I wanted though was to see them grow up, but.
Yeah, it's interesting they're picking up like literally right where the first movie ends.
I wanted to see kids maybe in high school or college, pull Toy Story 3 essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like the high school superhero thing has been like played out.
Overdone, yes, but. Speaking of movies, I saw Ready Player One yesterday. So I've heard it's a pretty good movie. My roommate loves the book, and we're probably going to be seeing that movie sooner or later.
Yeah, we did see. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. We did see, however, Quiet Place.
Ooh, it looks awesome, man. It looks really good.
I saw with my girlfriend yesterday.
Humble brag. Wumbo has a girlfriend now. No big deal.
Anyways.
Wumbo, how many tweets do I have to send her to get her on the show as a guest host? How many tweets?
I don't think she has a Twitter.
Less than 40? Make her Twitter and then give me her handle so I can just shoot as many tweets her way as possible.
For the love of God, do not.
Just all the tweets. And I'm not even going to spell anything. I'm just going to bang my head on my keyboard and then just send it. No spell check, nothing. I'm just going to... And she's just going to be like, what are these weird eclectic alphabets this person's sending to me? And you're going to be like, that's Nostal. Don't worry about it. He's weird. But no, yeah, Ready Player One. I heard really good things.
Yeah, so did I. So
yeah.
But although I'm kind of like worried about it, though, because I think it looks like it's heavily relying on nostalgia to pay, or to.
I mean, it's very, very stylized, and it kind of looks like pop culture just kind of threw up into a film reel, which is
but there's a reason for it, supposedly.
Sure.
Apparently, the creator of the whole game loves 80s culture, so that's why you see a bunch of stuff like that.
Okay. Well, Spielberg has done more good than bad, so
definitely.
I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
All right.
Jacob says, during the hiatus, there was discussion of hiring me as a guest host. There was talk of that. People were saying that. The discussion was had. It's true. The discussion was had, by which I mean Jacob said it, and I said, yeah, that's an idea. And then we haven't talked about it since then. To be totally honest, Jacob, and I mentioned this the last time you said it, like as much as I love you, Wumbo and I have tried doing this show a couple times with either him not here or me not here, and we've just kind of agreed, it doesn't really feel right. It's just...
I distinctly remember having Nostal off for like 2 episodes. It didn't really go well, and also I've only been gone for like 1 hour. I haven't really. How did that go?
It just doesn't feel right, and it's not that these people aren't our friends or even that they're bad hosts. It's that when you've done 60+ episodes with somebody, like there's just a cadence there you can't really get with anybody else. It's just the yin to my yang, so to speak. But anyway, but the idea of a third host or perhaps a guest host or something like that, all things are on the table.
Read my name.
Don't do it, Wumbo. It's a trap.
Yeah, no, I'm not reading that name.
Close call.
I'm just gonna call you. I'm just gonna call you horny.
Oh, that works too. I mean,
that works too.
I'm gonna call you as in I heard you like mudkips, because people do like mudkips. It's true. Pardon me is here for the crappy commercial at the end. Says.
Oh God, yeah, I have.
We got one.
I have something special for that. Have you seen it?
I haven't. It's ready. It's queued up, but no, I haven't.
That's great. I love setting up the crappy commercial because I'm just like, what can I play that could just be absolutely stupid but hilarious and somewhat made in the 90s for some reason.
What's gaming, etc., if not stupid, a little bit hilarious, and far too reminiscent of the 90s? That's pretty much the show, like in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's safe to say. Jacob says, "Oh no, I totally would never accept that position out of respect for the show. I'm just saying that the people were really getting into the idea."
Let's start a straw poll as to whether or not Jacob should be the next host. And by we, I mean not me and Wumbo, but if someone wants to.
I don't. Anyways, do you want to get into the show, good sir?
Wumbo, it would be my honor to get into the show. Speaking of things that it's an honor to talk about, Spyro is getting a remaster.
Which I am very much excited for. In the same vein that the Crash Insane trilogy, when it came out last year, a lot of people were asking, why not do a Spyro remake? Sure. And, well, Toys for Bob, the same people who did the remake for Spyro, or for Crash, is doing a Spyro remake. It's the, if I do remember correctly, it's the 3 PS1 games that came out, or being remade for the PS4, right. Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, surprisingly, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Have you had any experience with the Spyro series at all?
So Spyro was one of those games that my friends always played, and it was never really me that got into it. I will say I knew how relevant it was around me. Everyone really enjoyed it, and that was really cool to see. I never latched onto it. It just never really happened.
Sorry, something fell on my webcam.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just fact-checking real quick. It looks like Insane Trilogy was developed by Vicarious Visions.
Oh, my mistake.
You're good. Okay. You're good. I was just going to say, it didn't sound right to me.
I know Toys for Bob is developing this, right?
Toys for Bob is doing, I believe, the Switch port of Insane Trilogy, if I'm not mistaken.
My mistake.
No, it's all good. I'm just making sure we cover our bases. That's all. But no, I'm really happy about this. I think, you mentioned Insane Trilogy last year. I think that was probably a little bit of a litmus test to see, in 2017 or now 2018, is there still an audience for these cartoony platformers? You know what I mean?
And obviously there is with, I mean, like a larger audience in comparison.
Oh, no, Wumbo, I think your mic got cut.
I said in comparison.
It's good now. It's good, yeah.
Probably some far away because I'm trying to set this up. I said in comparison to the indie crowd where there's always a cartoony platformer coming out. And plus Sonic Mania came out last year as well, which is pretty much a huge hit.
Yeah, so. people love Sonic Mania. And I think even if it's just, no pun intended, but the nostalgia crowd that's buying this, because the people who enjoyed it back in the day, you can still get a fair amount of sales from that because, gamers are getting older and they are, looking back on some of these games with rose-colored glasses. So... yeah, and Insane Trilogy was met with largely good things that people had to say about it. It sold pretty well. So I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is really cool. Wumbo, let me ask you this. Do you think we're far away from either a new Crash game or a new Spyro game?
I think a new Crash game or a new Spyro game. If this Spyro game sells well, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say they're probably going to make another smaller scale Crash game.
Sure.
Or maybe something with a physical copy. That or just this might sound a little strange and probably a terrible idea because a collaboration game.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's actually like the fucking games because if you know your gaming history correctly, there was actually a collaboration between Crash and Spyro. And
Crash had a demo for Spyro built into it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Same thing goes with Spyro. It had a demo for Crash 3.
That's super cool.
I would like to see possibly a collab game where it's actually a platformer.
Now, when you say collab, do you mean like couch co-op or?
That actually sounds like a really cool idea.
One person plays. I can't talk. I'm sorry. Yeah, plays Spyro. Other person plays Crash.
One person plays a Spyro in Spyro's style of which is more like gliding and going through bigger areas. Sure. Where Crash is more linear. Yeah. Which. Their differences and how they could kind of mesh together.
Crash is kind of your brawler, and Spyro's a little bit more ranged and aerial attack. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, but as an actual platformer, not like an action platformer.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. No. Not like because Crash and Spyro did have a collaboration on Game Boy Advance, and it was all mini games, and it was god awful.
Sure. I will say the idea of a co-op platformer does sound kind of unconventional. I think that might be tough to pull off, but if you could do it well,
that or just make new games, which fair. I would like to see. I would like to see some new games if these do sell well.
That's fair.
So
this article came to us by way of Chris Pereira over at GameSpot. Frankly, I don't know if we really need to read the article.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump in, Wumbo, or do you not?
Kind of really just said the entire thing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's too much left to be said here.
Aside from like release dates, which did they ever say a release date for this? Or no?
I know it's September. I don't remember when.
Okay. And this is including Spyro 2 Rito's Rage, and Spyro for Year of the Dragon, which I'm wondering if they're going to keep the skateboard from Year of the Dragon.
Here's hoping, man. We need more skateboards in games.
We need more skateboards. Dragons on skateboards to be more exact.
It's true. It's scientifically proven if you add a skateboard to something, people enjoy it more. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe. September 21st.
Skateboards. Oh, September 24th. Thank you.
Yeah. PS4 and Xbox One. Do you think we see PC and Switch?
Well, I know it's. I thought it was going to be ported to Switch, right?
It doesn't say that in this article. It seems like I heard that somewhere.
Later then.
Okay, we'll see.
Maybe later.
Crash is coming to Switch. I think Crash is already or soon to be coming to PC. So.
July, if I do remember, or PC.
I think it's already there, isn't it? Pretty sure.
Huh. What about Xbox One? Was it ever released for Xbox One?
Crash, I think, came to Xbox One. Not the originals, but Insane did, I believe.
Yeah. Soon I'm pretty sure the originals will not be on Xbox One.
No, I mean, Naughty Dog historically has had, pretty much exclusive deals with PlayStation. And Crash, it wasn't until it was acquired by Activision that it started going
to other consoles as well.
Right.
Anyways, I think. Do you want to move on?
I would love to
move on. Read the chat first and then move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Kitten says, "I want to see Ready Player One." Yeah, Kitten, let us know if you see it, how you like it. It's interesting. I will say it just from what I've heard and what I've seen. It looks a little too cluttered of a movie. I wonder if you can appreciate any of those things if none of them have really that much room to breathe. But that's judging it
same way as Infinity War.
A little bit, but I mean, Ready Player One, like the trailer alone is literally hundreds of character references to franchises.
And you could see the Iron Giant right next to Tracer from Overwatch.
Tracer and Chucky the Dolls beheading people and all sorts of weird stuff going on. So I don't know. I mean, I enjoy reference humor, as people know, but I do think there's a point of diminishing return. And I'm saying this as someone who's only seen the trailers to the movie, and I frankly don't have any intention of seeing the movie anytime soon. But my gut tells me it might be a little too cluttered, but I think it'll be a fun rental once it comes out.
Did you ever read the book at all?
No, I didn't. I have been reading more this year, but I'm mostly on nonfiction these days. I'm reading a lot of biographies. So
I haven't been reading as often as I should be.
Yeah, that was my New Year's resolution, was to swear off caffeine, which as of January 1st I haven't had caffeine. And then was to read more. So I've read like 4 or 5 books so far this year. I'm trying to read like a book a month, which isn't that much, but still, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, still. All right. Nice skateboard reference. Thank you, Dark.
10 out of 10 skateboard reference. One of the top skateboard references the show has ever had, for sure.
The show is really going well. I don't think any changes are needed at all. # Jacob, third host for gaming, etc.
What we need to
do. Love to have you on as a guest once again, Jacob.
No, Wumbo, we should actually probably talk about this off camera. But what we need to do is see if Gaming Etc. can get acquired by Irritating Films. If we can just sell the show to Irritating Films, then do it under the Irritating Films banner so that we have funding.
When is Irritating Films even gonna?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good thing we shut the mics off so they can't hear us.
Yeah, it's a great thing that we shut the mics off.
Yeah, but if we could maybe just float the idea out there, like if maybe Dark Nexus 16 could like tweet at Irritating Films and say, when are you gonna buy Gaming Etc., just to kind of get the idea out there. Doesn't matter if it happens yet, but just get people talking about it.
While we're mute, so we should probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sorry about that, everybody. Technical difficulties.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Speaking of transitions, Sea of Thieves.
All right. Have you actually? All right. Sorry. This article coming away from Polygon. Have you actually played Sea of Thieves at all?
I have not played Sea of Thieves, but I have watched a couple streams, and we'll get into it. But there's one particular thing in Sea of Thieves that weirdly has gotten me more excited than any game has in a long time, and I can't really understand why.
Is it because of Rare, or?
I'll mention it a little bit. Let's get into the article first. But this comes to us by way of Allegra Frank over at Polygon, and the article is the updates to address players' biggest complaints. You want to start reading, Wumbo?
Mm-hmm. Rare is beginning to address some of Sea of Thieves players' biggest complaints, as the developer detailed in a blog post, about their top feedback points and to players' appreciation to the highest priority changes that sounds pretty good. As with Sea of Thieves, we'll make some changes, get them out to players, and assess how effective they are, using feedback and data to decide whether we need to take more steps, wrote the executive producer, Joe Neate.
That's a freaking rad name, Joe Neate.
Joe Neate.
That's like a hitman's name. Like, I'm neat. Joe Neate. Like, that's hardcore, man. That's pretty cool.
And introducing a list of players' most common issues and how team plans to address them. Now, I heard that Sea of Thieves, in terms of progression, I heard basically it was just cosmetics for progression.
Sure.
And that you, I'm going off of a Crowcat video, in case you haven't seen that YouTuber. He basically talks about like what's bad things that are going off in the industry. That there really isn't that much to the game in terms of like, sure, after 6 hours or so, there really isn't that much to do in the game.
No, Wumbo, I don't want this to be a making a mountain out of a molehill situation. But,
I love to hear that term.
But this does remind me a little bit of No Man's Sky, where it is a game that is exclusive to a platform and gets a lot of buzz early on, and people get really excited about it, and it launches, and there's maybe just not quite as much there as should be.
Because this game was hyped years now.
Yeah.
And there really isn't that much content that this game was promising, and also using Rare, which in case anyone has noticed, or anyone has noticed, this isn't Rare like the original Rare that made Banjo-Kazooie or Conquest Bad Fur Day. This is a totally different team that has the Rare name.
Right, which is an interesting play, especially with Rare Replay coming out not long ago to big success, and it's I don't know. I don't think it's a bad game. From what I've heard, it's not bad. It's just maybe a little dry. There just needs to be a little bit more there.
Exactly, and I don't own an Xbox One or a capable PC, so I haven't really had the chance to play this game. I heard okay things, and I heard it was much better while playing with friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
The game was made for streamers to watch streams.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Like, the people I know that have been streaming it, I know Global Gambit and Dcast Gaming and people in the Nostalginator family have, been streaming this game and have been enjoying it quite a bit, but that was largely in the first couple weeks of release, and I'm seeing that, taper out a little bit.
So there isn't much to do, so it's kind of just dying.
Yeah, and that may be okay. We are sort of in the age of games as a service and sort of adding things in, and especially with this being one of the flagship games on Microsoft Game Pass, we'll see how this goes. A lot of people are hopping in, just to try it for the $10 a month or whatever it is. I don't know off the top of my head how much Game Pass costs, but
that or just for what I heard though, that most people are complaining about that this is basically an early access game and people are paying $60 for it if they've actually bought a physical copy.
Sure. And I don't think you can do this because this would absolutely tank sales, but I think perhaps a smarter move on Microsoft's part, a bolder move, but maybe a smarter move in the long run, would have been to make this a Game Pass exclusive game. Of say you pay $10 or whatever it is a month, you can try this game for a month, and if you like it, that's a reason to keep paying for Game Pass. And if you don't like it, then you get out.
That would have been a bold move, but also a very, very risky move.
For sure. And this isn't the title for that because of how much hype and time and development was put into it.
Exactly.
But I do think that the type of I do think the type of game that this is seeming to shape up to be, that might have been a better fit for.
I feel like if they wanted to use Game Pass, why don't they just put some old IPs on Game Pass and let people just, And
I think they are. I mean, like, full disclosure, you and I are not Xbox guys, so this is we're sort of grasping at straws. But I think bringing that old library in of, Xbox does have quite a few properties that people like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's for sure probably in the cards.
I do think what Nintendo might be doing with the whole you pay $20 a month for virtual console. I think that's what they're doing.
Well, in Nintendo, unrivaled catalog of old games to draw from. Like, no one comes even close to Nintendo's library of games they've made over the last, 30, 40 years.
30 years about, yeah.
I mean, not even close. No one touches their library, with anything. But I do think that as we're, seeing this age of games as a service, that maybe this would have been a better month-to-month game as opposed to a flat fee of $60. I think, PC players like me on Steam, we're used to stuff like Rust. We're used to Minecraft. We're used to this stuff that's kind of broken and janky, and you're there at the ground floor, and that's okay. But console players, they expect something a little bit more refined because console, historically, when something's released on console, it's more or less done. And with day one patches, obviously we're moving away from that more and more, but when a game's this empty, people have a right to be mad, and I
exactly.
I can't say that they're wrong.
I feel like this game should have been. I don't think they should have announced it in 2016. In 2017, they should have announced it like straight up there.
Sure.
And gave this game a little bit more time to develop instead of just release it as the state that it is right now.
And I mean, everybody says this is not a novel revelation, but I think the Fallout 4 model is perfect. You announce something, you keep it under wraps for as long as you can, you show it off, you show gameplay, you get people hyped, and then say, cool, it's out in 6 months. It's coming out this year, But keep your cards close to the chest.
And also have a mobile game that people barely played as basically hyping.
Yeah,
remember Fallout Shelter?
Yeah, it's tapping into this thing that is already established. You know that you like it, and then you say, hey, we're working hard. It's going to be here way closer than anything else that's being showed.
I feel like though they should have. It works with existing IPs. This is a new IP, so I don't think it would have garnered as much attention if they did the whole Fallout 4 route.
For sure, but you do hit a point of diminishing return with hype after a while. And when you're hyping something for 2 or 3 years, after a while, people are just like, okay, I don't know how much longer you want me to be excited about this. Like, in the time since you announced this, there's indies that are doing this a lot better, frankly. So,
the same thing happened with Mass Effect Andromeda, where people were wondering when the hell is this game coming out when it's been hyped over and over again in each E3. And when it finally came out, no one cared. Yeah. And it was in a terrible state when it came out as well because they rushed it.
Yeah, and again, I don't think Sea of Thieves is a bad game, but I do think Microsoft is going to learn from this and say, what happens when we overhype something? People's expectations, and rightly so, are going to be, a little bit not in a good place, and that's hard to see. But
fully agree with that.
I do think it'll be really interesting to see what Sea of Thieves is, 3 or 6 months from now.
Yeah, Jacob mentions in the chat that there is some free DLC in the game that brings that would bring fully doing it. If it has some decent free DLC support down the line, it would be worth the full price tag.
Yeah, and I think I
agree with that. Yeah, and like GTA Online is doing, where
and I think operative word being free there, but by
what Splatoon 2 did with maps, where at first the game seemed bare, but then it kept adding on new maps over and over and over again.
Sure, and I mean, look at say what you will about it, but look at the new Battlefront 2. At launch, people did not like that game, but
the new what?
The new Battlefront 2, the new Star Wars.
Oh yeah, people didn't like that at launch because of the whole.
The microtransactions and that was, I think, a situation where it was less about what was happening and more about how they were saying what was happening. But they added a lot of content. They did their best to get some goodwill, and it to some extent the damage had been done, but a lot of people are still enjoying that game. So
I hope for the best for Rare, and hopefully they could bounce back with this game, or maybe, like Jacob mentioned, have a lot more free DLC that brings people back to this game. But again, like you mentioned, this should be what Microsoft should learn from this experience and realize that maybe it wasn't good to rush this game.
Yeah.
And
or at the very least, keep those cards closer to the chest a little bit longer. Just don't tease something when you're not even really sure what it is yet, because that's hard.
Exactly.
I do want to mention real fast, I know we're running long, but the random encounter in this game, there is this moment that can happen in your game where you're sailing across the sea and you're heading from one place to another. This can happen, to my knowledge, at almost any point in the game. And suddenly the ocean goes dark and the sky goes dark, and tentacles come out of the water, and the Kraken starts attacking you.
Holy shit, that's cool.
And I was like, this is a game that, frankly, I'm not really that interested in. and the art style's not really jiving with me, and I don't really have anyone to play it with. But this idea that any body of water you go in, this giant creature can show up at any random point and just start beating the crap out of you. Like, I think that is so cool, and it adds this sense of like mystery and exploration to these waters of like, at any given point, this monster's just gonna show up. And you don't know when, and you can't be ready. And I was like, that's really rad. That's super fun.
As we were shitting on this game, then you mentioned this. I feel like you should be a spokesperson for Microsoft because you're basically selling this game to me.
Well, and the thing is like, again, I was not interested in Sea of Thieves at all. I still don't think I'll get it. But when I heard about the Kraken and people posting their reactions online and seeing streamers run into this thing, I was like, how cool is that? I mean, think about, go back to European explorers 500-600 years ago. They're charting the world and they're looking around there. It was all about exploration. It was all about mystery. It was all about finding things that hadn't been found. How cool is that when you go sailing out in the waters in this game, this random creature, you don't know when, you don't know where, but it's going to show up and you have to fight it. And it's a tough fight. And you can actually encounter it multiple times. And every time you encounter it, it gets stronger. And,
oh, God.
And I was this is really cool and fun and weird. And for a game that, for all intents and purposes doesn't have that much in it, that's a really fun feature.
We need more of that in the game. More reason to play the game aside from just going to point A to point B to point C.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you want to catch up on the chat?
I would love to catch up on the chat.
Let's see.
Jacob tweeted something. Let's see this.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at this. What do you think the rumors that at Nostalgia and I123 are considering to offer me a job as the third host of gaming, etc.? Personally, I do not know how these.
Yeah, I don't know. The truth is, we have no way to tell who started this rumor. We just don't have the technology.
In this vote or no?
I mean, I think I have to remain neutral. I think
I'm going to remain neutral as well. I'm just going to retweet this.
Okay, sounds good. We'll keep it updated. Jacob, I will say I appreciate your grit. You got a lot of heart to you. You're like Iron Man's Heartbreaker suit. You got a lot of heart to you. So, I think it's called Heartbreaker or something like that.
The big suit that he fights Hulk in. And,
no, that's the Hulkbuster. There's this one suit that has like a larger arc reactor, like it has a different symbol. Someone will know. But
someone just tweet us it because
someone will figure it out.
I'm drawing a blank as well. Anyways, we're running low on time, so we have stories to get through. So we go blast through these fast.
Sounds good. Real quick, I do want to say, Gabe said it's like $30. I don't remember the games. There's a $30 price tag. Doesn't have that much content.
Wait, Game Pass is $30 a month?
No. Well, maybe. I don't think Game Pass is.
Or is the game or Sea of Thieves worth $30?
No, Sea of Thieves isn't 30.
I was about to say.
I'm pretty sure it's 60.
Yeah.
Give me Wumbo fill for time for me for a sec.
The game deserves a $30 price, I'd Gabe is saying, which I agree with.
Sea of Thieves is $60.
But is Game Pass $30?
Game Pass is. Come on, Microsoft, put the price tags on the first. Come on.
This game, let's see. Gabe also says, "Heck, let's get the entire family as a host." It's a face cam and no actual visuals.
Games Pass is $9.99 a month.
Okay,
which is not a bad deal.
I got the $30 thing.
I think that Gabe was just saying that Sea of Thieves should be priced at $30.
Deserves $30. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways. Would you like to go into the next story?
I would love to go into the next story.
Well,
speaking of the next story, that wasn't a good one. I'm sorry. That was bad. Rick and Morty. People like them there. That old man and his little grandson that they go on space adventures with.
Oh hell yeah! I love this show.
Yeah.
I don't like the fan base, and of course it caused Szechuan sauce to actually be a thing at McDonald's. I tried.
What a world we live in, man. What a weird world.
I actually tried Szechuan sauce. It's not really that good.
I will say, for every one tweet I saw about the how do I say it? Szechuan. For every one tweet I saw about Szechuan sauce, I saw 9 tweets from McDonald's employees saying, "Stop asking. We don't have it. Leave us alone." Like I
actually. Okay, little story. I actually called McDonald's asking, "Hey, I heard Szechuan sauce is coming. Is it actually going to be coming?" I got hung up on For McDonald's employee.
I have a hard time thinking of a marketing stunt that was more poorly handled in recent history because it was just no one had it. Just no one. Like I think
terrible idea.
I think honest to God, like probably 3 locations got this thing, and all the others, like no one even mentioned it to them because like nobody we saw had this.
Szechuan sauce.
But Wumbo, just can you sit where you are for a sec? I'm gonna recrop your face cam real fast. Just
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're totally fine. Don't worry about it. You're good.
Anyways, I'm going to continue reading on to Rick and Morty's new comic, believe it or not. Rick and Morty meets D&D with the help of popular fantasy author. Oh, and hey, Sam.
Hey, we know Sam.
Wow. Anyways, there's a new... And it features a crossover of one of the biggest fantasy franchises in the world. Oni Press, which publishes Scott Pilgrim, and
I did not know that. That's cool.
IDW Publishing are joining forces with a new miniseries that thrusts the Smith family into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. Which honestly, I would like to read this. I mean, I'm not that into D&D, but I know some people who are really into D&D. Sure. And I love Rick and Morty, so fuck it. I'll actually like to read this.
Hey, there we go.
But what the fuck am I reading?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't looking at the chat. I was just excited to be buying it.
Anyways, Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons will be co-written by fantasy novelist Patrick Rothfuss.
Sure.
And D&D and Jim Zub. And drawn by Troy Little.
Not to be confused with Stuart Little. He was a mouse. Troy Little, we assume, is a man. We're not sure, but
I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
The series will, more importantly though, the series will debut in August of this year. Which I'm guessing since it's a mini series, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be less than 6-ish, or gonna be about 6 issues. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, I thought this was kind of cool. I like to read it.
We have this cool D&D art here. This is pretty fun.
Yeah, this is cool. Have you read or have you seen anything from Rick and Morty at all?
So my exposure to Rick and Morty was maybe 2 or 3 episodes. A buddy of mine got real deep into it, and he was like, "Hey, you need to come watch the show with me." And anytime, as much as I love my friends, anytime something's exposed to me in that way of I really like this, I want you to really like this too, I have a really hard time really enjoying something because there's all this pressure on you to like something instead of just naturally gravitating towards it. So it didn't really jive with me. There's the joke of like, oh, you're just not smart enough to understand Rick and Morty. It's such highbrow humor. No, I know.
No. With a show full of fart and burp jokes, yeah. Totally, man.
No, I know. I know it's all in good fun. I will say that its sense of humor, you mentioned fart and burp jokes, didn't really jive with me. That's not really the type of stuff I find funny. So I think I'm maybe not quite the demographic for this. That said, I know how popular it is.
Yes.
I appreciate that, it's had the level of success it has, and that, they're doing things that are outside of the traditional cartoon format. I think that's really, really cool.
Oh, of course. With having a large amount of merchandise, weird marketing campaigns, not just with McDonald's, but with Nintendo, with Carl's Jr., with... I don't know. Have you seen the Carl's Jr. ad with Rick and Morty where the burgers just attack Morty in his sleep?
I don't think so. That's twisted though. That's messed up.
Okay, not in his sleep. Rick wakes up Morty in a drunken rampage and says, "Hey, we got burgers," and the burgers literally walk into Morty's room. Sauce is just like going everywhere.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. You can probably find it online.
There's a Yu-Gi-Oh card called Man-Eating Hamburger. And it's a hamburger that has teeth that eats people. And I saw that as a kid, and I was like, this is, like, I should not be playing this game. This is messed up. This is a very dark...
I actually had that card. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a very mature theme to put in a kid's book. Like,
very much so.
That's eating people. That's messed up, man. But no, all joking aside, I'm not particularly a fan of Rick and Morty, but I think it's always cool to see, regardless of the medium, oddball people doing oddball, weird, outside-the-box things. I think that's really, really fun. And comics, underrated, medium.
This isn't the first Rick and Morty comic, as far as I'm aware. I think Hot Topic actually had like a comic, or like a one-off comic with Rick and Morty alongside with Invader Zim, and Steven Universe, and my experience with Rick and Morty, I have seen the first and second season, a little bit of season 3. I enjoy the series as a whole. The fan base is kind of terrible depending on what happens. I love the art style. The characters are great. It can get deep at some points. No one is safe in the series.
That is an interesting, not tonight because we are going long, but like that is an interesting conversation to have. There's something about like Rick and Morty, Undertale, and Five Nights at Freddy's, these things that all get immensely popular, immensely quickly, and all the fan bases get really, really toxic.
We kind of talked about that a long time ago.
Did we?
You mentioned, yeah, we did. We talked about Sonic the Hedgehog, and you mentioned Undertale as well. I forget what streamer you mentioned, but she basically did a different decision to where some of the characters were dying,
I believe that was Sapphire Knight. I could be wrong, but she was literally getting like death threats in her chat.
Yeah.
Because, and
you got to be kidding me, people! It's a video game.
It's a video game, and frankly, if you can't separate that, or if you're taking it that seriously, then you probably shouldn't be playing it or watching people play it, because that's over the line. But anyways, discussion for another day. But I do think it's interesting that they all are kind of aimed at a slightly younger demographic. They're all, maybe not Rick and Morty, but they're all, kind of on the edge of what's appropriate and what's not, and they all have this fan base that is kind of hostile. It's interesting. I don't know if there's a pattern there or not, but
I don't know. And there's also the whole Steven Universe situation where they sent death threats to some artists, making one character look a little bit bigger than. I don't know. That's been directly referenced multiple times at other sources.
Yeah. Anyways.
Do you want to catch up in the chat?
Tell you what, let's finish off the stories and then catch up with the chat.
I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I
thought we were done with the story, that's why.
Oh, no. I meant like, let's just hop to the next story since we got like 10 minutes.
Yeah, because we're running out of time. I forgot.
Yeah, and we will catch up with the chat, we promise. We're just trying to keep the flow of the show going. So.
All right, the next 2 articles, there won't really be too much, but I figured you would like to hear this because you've been really hyped about this game.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man PS4 will have no microtransactions. It's locked at 30 frames per second, and Mary Jane is a playable character.
And it's coming out in September.
Yeah, it's coming out in September.
How about that?
As we know, there's going to be an open world. It's an open world Spider-Man game in the essence of Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox, PS2, GameCube, and
Spider-Man 2 was the game that made me realize what an open world game is and what an open world game can be. Like,
I still haven't played it.
Well, and I think going back to it now, it's probably not worth it just because every game since then has been doing it better because, the hardware limitations have gotten less constraining. But that was a game that I don't remember exactly, probably 2004-ish. That was a game that made you realize, oh, wait, you don't have to be on rails. You don't have to be walking through this metaphorical tunnel from start to finish. You can just take the blinders off and just go where you want. And, we take that for granted now because we're in a post-Skyrim, post-Witcher, post-Fallout world. But that wasn't a thing. That didn't used to be a thing. And when it was, I'm not saying Spider-Man was the first game to do it.
No, I was about to say the game that really popularized this whole genre to begin with and kind of just broke the industry in general with the amount of controversy that it has was, and this isn't the first open world game, but
sure.
the Grand Theft Auto 3 was the game that basically popularized the fact that open world games can sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why there's so many open world games post that and like fucking Naughty Dog copied them with, or not copied them directly, but
Jak 2 heavily influenced by GTA.
Yeah, heavily influenced by Grand Theft Auto 3 in terms of like there's an open world, but there's obviously levels and.
And I've, gone on record multiple times saying that, GTA's never really jived with me, just the vibe and the whole kind of, there's a little bit of a seedy connotation to it that I've never really, enjoyed much myself. But GTA has and likely always will be pushing the boundaries of what a game can do. And I think all studios, whether they want to or not, actively are heavily influenced by them because Rockstar are, pushing the boundaries of what games can be.
Of course, and I'm also highly excited for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which is the newest game going to be coming out.
It's a heck of a year for games, man. There's
hell yeah! I actually played Red Dead Redemption 1 just for basically reminding myself why I enjoyed this game to begin with.
Did it hold up for the most part? You were enjoying it?
It did. Just the graphic. I noticed there was a lot of glitches.
Sure.
A lot of glitches with the PS3 version.
Yeah, certification isn't what
not made for the PS3.
Rather,
it was made for the 360, not for the PS3.
Sure. Which pretty common in those things. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, with more time, we might talk about this more. Is this a pre-order for you? Is this a day one purchase? What are you thinking?
Wait, are you referring to Mary Jane?
Just
Mary
Spider-Man in general.
Oh, Spider-Man. I don't know. I actually don't own a PS4 anymore.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, the PS4 I played was my dad's.
So we need to do a video where like.
When I eventually get a PS4, a handful of games I will buy, including Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War coming out soon. This game I would like to actually play.
Sure.
This would be like a post-release. I would like to buy this game, but that's when I get a PS4. So
yeah, we should do a video, you and me, on the same day, both getting a PS4, and then. our first hours, because I think we're pretty much the last people on the planet who don't have one at this point. But
well, I mean, I use my dad, so
no, I hear you.
Yeah. DLC is planned for launch. There's a crafting system. Civilians.
That's fascinating. Crafting system.
You can take selfies and high five civilians. Okay,
that's really cool.
You could hopefully you can run into Stanley in the game. That'd be funny.
Kind of a little bit of red underline here. Locked at 30 FPS. Do you care? Is that an issue to you?
No, I don't really care that well. It really depends on the game for what you're trying to do for frame rates.
Sure.
If it's a fighting game, I'll preferably love it. I'll like to have it at 60 frames per second. First-person shooters, 60 frames, depending on how much graphical fidelity the game's going to have.
Sure.
Platformers, I'd like to have it stick on 30.
Okay.
I know that's kind of different, but
I mean, it's I don't really care for the most part.
For open world games, I don't really give a crap.
Okay.
So
it is interesting that it's locked at 30 FPS on PS4 Pro as well. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Not necessarily bad, but just
it's just I'm pretty sure the PS4 Pro can do much more than 30 frames per second. But
it can't, in which case the PS4 version, the PS4 Slim version might see not the best performance. We'll see. Who knows?
Who knows? If I'm buying a PS4, I'm going to be buying a. Why the hell not?
Sure.
It's technically a more powerful system, so why not?
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good sign that the console generation is going to be kicking around for a few more years. I don't think we're within a year or two of the PS5. I think we got some time to go.
Nope. So. I would give it 3 or 4 years.
Okay. You want to do the final story and then catch up on chat?
Of course. This is a bit of an interesting thing that was made by our good friend Owen S. Good.
Sure.
Who we've seen, or good friend as in we've read his articles multiple times in the show.
Doing good work there over at Polygon, that Owen.
Oh, very, very much so. Thank you, Owen. He probably doesn't even know we exist. PSA: Toys R Us gift cards will weeks.
No.
And it turns out you could change them at fucking Bed Bath & Beyond.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Let me just read this a little bit. This is a friendly reminder that Toys R Us customers will be holding gift cards with a balance left them have a limit, or basically the balance on a card will have a limited run. April 21st to be exact, which is 2 weeks from Saturday. Man, how many days from today?
Even less, like 13? 2 weeks from yesterday.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. Anyways, this PSA is coming because for some reason Bed Bath & Beyond mentioned they would accept Toys R Us gift cards as store credit, or you could cash it out.
Bold move on their part.
Why Bed Bath & Beyond? I have no idea.
I assume they're is Toys R Us self-owned or I don't know.
I have no idea, but I do know that it's strange to see Toys R Us go.
Oh yeah, I mean,
or rather, it's strange to see Toys R Us last this long.
Well, I mean, it's Amazon, right? I mean,
yeah.
why does this? And I mean, I've been vocal about the fact that I think GameStop's probably going away, and I don't particularly feel like GameStop has a place in today's world. But Amazon is making the traditional retail model go away.
My local Sears is gone now because they didn't sell anything.
Well,
no one ever really went inside there.
And Toys R Us, but especially Sears. I mean, and granted, I'm a business major, so like that's the lens I see the world through. But you have this giant store with this giant amount of square footage, giant overhead, and everyone wants to buy online anyway. So like,
because it's easier, way more convenient.
It's easier. It ships to your house. Frankly, the prices are lower in most cases. So like, and there are some things, you want to kind of bang it up a little bit and see it in person before you make a purchase, but still like that model is going away. And so it's sad to see this. I have a lot of memories with Toys R Us.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I distinctly remember I think it was my 8th birthday. I got like more than $50. So I went basically on a shopping spree, getting a bunch of Avatar: The Last Airbender toys because that was cool.
Yeah, for me it was they'd always do the Pokemon distributions there. I'd take my Game Boy or later DS, and you'd go and they'd have Pokemon you could only get there. Like they'd be giving away Mew or they'd be giving away Jirachi or something, and you couldn't get them anywhere else, and you had to go and I'd have to convince my parents or a friend to give me a ride or something and go and get it, and it was cool. I made like an event out of it. But so this is sad to see.
But at the same time, I'm not really shocked to see it going.
It's not at all. I'll ask you this, Wumbo. I think our generation, perhaps more than any other, has kind of embraced this hipster movement of things kind of swing back. Do you think 5, 10, 15 years from now we see something like Toys R Us or Toys R Us come back in some capacity?
As a brand, yes.
Okay.
As an actual store, a big box store like this, I don't really think so.
Okay.
As a brand, I could see Toys R Us having some memorability, especially in our generation, or not, I guess the generation beforehand.
Sure.
But at the same time, I just feel like I don't think it will be as big as a scale as what it used to be.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the brand still has some weight to it. Toys R Us is a name that means something. But whether or not that's enough, I guess we'll see.
All right. Do you want to catch up on while the chat's really gone?
There's people talking and watching the show. Thank you all so much for being here. This is awesome.
About butts and
well, at least they're talking about something.
They're talking about something and a bunch of
So in the interest of time, we're gonna read every message. We may not read them all out loud, but if there's one that said something that we want to respond to, we will, and if not, we're just gonna gloss over it. So we're reading all your messages. We're just not reading.
Well,
like the ones that are just exclamation points, we don't need to read those ones out loud. We love you,
how's the whole independent living thing? Independent living's been pretty nice. Well, independent, quote unquote. I have roommates, but living on my own without my parents, so far it's been pretty nice. It's just the overwhelming stress of rent, but I've been managing that pretty well so far. So
I appreciate Jacob still campaigning to get on the show. I mean, Jacob, I think it's in the people's hands at this point. I think the people of Twitter have to decide. I don't think it's on us.
Of course. So. But although it's our show, so we kind of make the final call. So, and Sam, the Sears is gone.
It's gone, dead, buried.
Yeah, now, I guess you haven't been to the mall in a while. But yeah, that Sears has been gone for maybe almost a month now, and what's there in place of it is it's a fucking wall.
Well, so, I just picture myself flying down, landing right in front of you in your room, and just saying, "The Sears is gone. Bury it," and then walk away. And you're like, "Tell me, do you bleed?" And I fly away. You will. And it's like, dun 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 dun. Yeah. Anyway, you know what? I think history's gonna remember that movie well. Not as a good movie.
Wait, which one?
Batman v Superman. No, Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman.
I don't think it's a good movie, but I think people are gonna remember it fondly.
Well, I think people are going to remember what not to do to start a franchise.
Yeah, but there's parts of that movie I liked. I thought
Yeah, I fully agree. It's just I think the studios should learn this is not how you start a major franchise.
And it was too much. It was they're trying to force feed us too much.
Batman v Superman.
Yeah, but there were good things about it though. Sam asks, "Where's the headphones?" I'm wearing my Apple ones. I just didn't want the big clunky Sennheisers when the podcast. It's a little bit more of a conversational setting. I didn't want to look like I was, freaking doing IT at a YMCA rec center or something. I don't know. Let me see.
Just the overwhelming stress of possible homelessness. I mean, I could always go back to my parents' place. So, anyways, hello, the dog god.
The Doge God. Welcome to the stream.
The Doge god. My mistake. No, Martha. How do you know that one person named Martha is?
Why do you know that name? How do you know that name? Why do you know that name? Oh my god. Why did you say that name, Wumbo? Wumbo, why did you say that name?
I'm out of water. That's another problem with Batman v Superman. That's fucking stupid.
Why'd you say that name, Wumbo? Okay.
Oh, wait. Wait, Sam, you're going to Rhode Island next June? Or this June? Gee, I wonder who you're going to see who also lives in Rhode Island.
Cleveland Brown.
Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Cleveland moved back to Rhode Island because the show was canceled. Yeah.
You know what's funny is my brother, when he was probably 6 or 7 years old, just started singing the Cleveland show theme song. And like,
well, it is a catchy ass song.
But here's the thing. None of us watch Adult Swim. None of us. So somewhere he just heard this song and just started singing it. And we're like, first of all, you were not old enough to be watching that show. Second of all, none of us watched that show. So where in the heck did you hear this song? And he just started
probably
singing.
Off the internet or something.
I guess, man. These kids and their internet, I'm telling you, it's something. Yeah, Doge God. We are reading the chat. We're just doing it, at a decent pace because this show goes up on YouTube as well. We want to make sure the show still makes sense if you're not reading the chat. So we read messages all at once in between stories. Is how we do
it. Speaking of that, Rose is going to graduate. That's great for her.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Especially Anthony, the host of Gaming, etc. Colin is pretty much the funniest co-host. What? There is no co-host. There's just, wait, no co-host. It's usually just Colin and me.
Hi. So. Hi, Jacob. Colin Jeffrey, co-host of the Gaming, etc. podcast here. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for your compliment. We appreciate you so much. We know there's a lot going on right now. We know there's talks of Jacob hopping on the cast and becoming the third host. We know there's talks of Irritating Films are interested in buying us out. Truthfully, Wumbo and I are open to an acquisition offer. We've talked about it in terms of how much it would cost. There's no number too small. We would sell in a heartbeat if you gave us any offer of any kind.
No, I'm not down with this.
Oh, I'd sell the show for 25 cents. 50 cents But Wumbo, I know that sounds bad, but again,
I'm not down with this. No,
there's two of us.
Co-host and co-owner of Gaming Etc. as
no, Wumbo, I hear what you're saying. But think about this: 50 cents can split it two ways. There's two of us. That's 25 cents each.
No. I'm not going to sell the show for 50 cents.
Okay. I'll bring him around, Jacob. Don't worry.
In fact, I think the show is priceless because I enjoyed this show and I would not like to sell the show.
Oh, well, Wumbo, I enjoy the show too. It's good theater. I was just making a joke. But anyways,
I know.
Speaking of things that are good, Wumbo, there's a lot of cool people out there that are making a lot of cool games that they maybe don't super have the rights to, but gosh darn it, they just love it. And one of those games is Metroid.
Oh, yeah, Metroid. We should probably, as mentioned beforehand, our topic for this episode is fan games.
Sure.
And for the fan game that I chose is a game I actually have not had the chance to play, but it is free online. If you do a simple Google search, you can find this. AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. This right here, or AM2, AM2R.
Yeah, close enough. Another Metroid AM2R. Yeah, not a great SEO on that one. They didn't do a great job on the name. But hey, what can you do?
Anyways, another Metroid 2 remake. Now, this right here is essentially what the name entails. It's a remake of Metroid 2. Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. The original game came out in 1990 for the Game Boy. But essentially, this game is, you play as Samus, you go across this one planet, and you kill a bunch of Metroids. Although this game is way more expanded compared to the original Metroid 2. There's a lot more bosses. There's a lot more things to do in the game. It's a lot longer. It's a lot harder. So I've heard. The game was in development for 10 years, supposedly, by a Milton I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Milton Gastuni, or Dr. M64 as his surname goes. And this game was released. This game was released on his website for 2 days until Nintendo released a cease and desist on his behalf.
Classic Nintendo.
Same thing goes with pretty much any Pokemon, like Pokemon Uranium. That was the game that the other big Pokemon fan game that came out that got taken down. And also, according to Wikipedia, this might not be true or not, but this game was nominated for the Game Awards. 2016, but it was taken down because Nintendo told them to.
Wumbo, do you think Nintendo's ever going to get to a point where they start embracing these things and see that this is good for them and not bad for them?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Do you think Nintendo's ever going to get to a point where they start embracing these fan games and recognize that this is good for them and not bad for them?
I hope they would do that, but unfortunately, Nintendo has been on record for being extremely stubborn when it comes to fan games. Sure. They are very protective of their IPs because it's pretty much the only reason why not the only reason why am I saying it was at point one reason why Nintendo still existed, because they sell Mario games, you know.
Well, and for good reason. I mean, they have arguably, I don't even think it's really arguably, they have the most loved IPs in gaming.
Of course, they have so many loved IPs in gaming, but it makes me wonder. At the point when this game came out, there wasn't really much going on with the Metroid series.
Sure.
And so to have this game come out and then immediately, get taken down, I just feel like Nintendo's kind of like not really caring for the series, And
well, and
I don't know. I would love to see Nintendo embrace fan games at one point, because it shows that people care enough about this series to make a game out of this, let alone setting aside 10 years of your life to this one game.
Well, in Uranium, I think it was about 9 years too. It was Pokemon Uranium for a very long time. I think giving them the benefit of the doubt, let's say, because I'm sure they do. In fact, we have an announced Metroid game on the radar, don't we? There's one
Metroid Prime 4. Okay. And I should also mention one reason why this game was taken down with CA, supposedly anyway, because there was another Metroid game that came out a year after this game came out. Metroid, if I remember correctly, the game's called Metroid Samus Returns. This is essentially a remake of Metroid 2 on the 3DS. This came out last year.
But I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see that, okay, one, this game's coming out for free. This person's spending a decade of their life on a passion project. Two, this game is gorgeous. The animations are wonderful. The graphics look really, really nice. It's clearly a love letter to a popular game.
It looks very reminiscent to the Game Boy Advance.
But it's running beautifully. I mean,
it's running way better than any of those games could.
60 FPS, very fluid, nice animations. This is clearly someone who cares. This isn't someone who's out to get Nintendo. And I am not a Metroid fan. I'm frankly not that big of a Nintendo fan. And even I had heard about all the hype around this game, as it was happening. And so when something gets this much traction, it doesn't buy Nintendo any points to axe this project. It makes It does. It makes them look like the big bad corporation that won't let anybody have any fun and won't let anybody, write their love letter to this franchise. So
exactly.
We're not in the habit of just calling out people's crap and trying to make them look bad, but I don't see what their game is on this, because
I mean, if someone was actually asking money for this, then I could see Nintendo being.
I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, I understand that, but this was free.
It was, and
it's still free. You can find it online.
And Nintendo, lots of devs working on lots of things. But let's just say, in a hypothetical, fake world, this came out in a vacuum and there was nothing for Metroid planned at all. That's not true, but let's just say it was. This is a wonderful litmus test as to whether or not a game like this can still come out, or a game, from this IP can still come out. Is there still interest? And this is a good way for them, with, might I add, no money coming out of their pocket, to see, do people still care about these games? And the answer is obviously yes.
Yes.
So,
and I'm glad to see that Nintendo actually cared enough to make an official Metroid 2 remake, not with a different art style compared to this, obviously. Preferably, I like this more than the 2.5D they pulled.
This is gorgeous. This is a really nice looking game.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I really don't. Aside from overprotectiveness of their IPs, I really don't get why Nintendo's so heavy-handed when it comes to fan games.
Yeah, and you and I don't have law degrees. We haven't spent decades in the games industry, so I am sure there are reasons that you and I don't know or haven't thought of. But I really do think in the long run, this is not helping them in the way that they think it might. I really do think this is hurting Nintendo. So, I guess we'll see. Wumbo, we're kind of getting a little long in the tooth. Do you have any closing thoughts on?
Do I have any other things to say about this?
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
really too much, aside from like I game at one point, but yeah, you can find this game with a simple Google search. Even though this was taken down after 2 days, official website, you can still find it somewhere.
Which of course we don't condone.
We do not condone
at all.
We do not condone. But if you are interested, look it up yourself.
Right. So yeah, and again, like tertiary Nintendo fan at best, but I think this is a beautiful, beautiful looking game, and I think that projects like this need to be given a little bit more room to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, right. So Wumbo, mine's in some ways similar to yours.
Let me guess, it's Pokemon Uranium.
It's not, but that's a really good guess.
I was pretty sure it was going to be that. Okay.
It's not. Stick with me. It's a little outside the box, but it still applies as far as I'm concerned. So where another Metroid 2 remake was made by people who loved the game, mine is also made by people who loved the game, and this is an add-on to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, so this is a very, very, very narrow part of a larger add-on called the Restored Content mod, and the part we're showcasing right here is a droid planet. I want to say it's called like MS-78 or something like that. It's some obscure letter number combination. Doesn't matter. The cool thing about this game, or let's just go really narrow. The cool thing about the planet that's being shown right now is this was supposed to be in the original game. But
it got cut.
It got cut. There were plot points that hinted towards it. There were pivotal story moments that were supposed to happen there. And Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic 1 came out to universal acclaim. It won all sorts of Game of the Year awards. And the folks looked at BioWare and said, "Great, you need to have the next one out in 18 months." And they're
Which
like, wow.
made me wonder why did they rush it?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. It's you can't rush good things. It's the Miyamoto quote, right?
Like things. We've seen games where, also including Fallout New Vegas, when you mentioned Obsidian, where a game that was made in about a year and a half.
Sure.
That's absolutely amazing, but
one is the Miyamoto quote, right? Of like, a rushed game is bad forever, but a delayed game is good eventually, or whatever. There's no reason to that.
Well, there are some exceptions, but I do agree with that.
Yeah, and so you get it ended up going over to Obsidian. They ended up developing KOTOR 2 instead of BioWare. But
okay.
Obsidian did it on a infamously short time frame, and the game came out and still became my favorite game of all time. But there were significant plot points so bad that some dialogue with characters, it would literally say in brackets underneath, "You'll be able to go to this place later in the story," and then you just couldn't. It's just not in the game, and
that is very, very, very strange.
Very odd, yeah. And so what happens about 7 or 8 years after the fact of the game coming out is a talented team of modders went into the game's source code, pieced together enough to say, this is what was supposed to be there. Here's like a bunch of unused audio files and VO and assets and level designs and things like that. And these modders, none of whom worked on the original team, went and they talked to people who did work on the original game, and they data mined and looked at all these files, and they pieced it together, and they made what this game was supposed to be.
That is really cool. That is really cool.
It's entirely free. They did it because they loved it. And, it's sure it's not perfect because they weren't the ones who originally made the game. But
still, though, it's cool to see a game like this that's been unfinished for years finally get some conclusion.
Absolutely.
And considering this is your favorite game of all time, I'm pretty sure you're happy.
Well, and there were, all sorts of stuff. And in a lot of ways, Mass Effect is the spiritual successor to Knights of the Old Republic. But there were things that were alluded to, even just small things, like, romances with characters and backstories and things like that you knew were supposed to happen, but just didn't. And you're like, man, I love this game, but it does feel hollow. It does feel like there's things that are supposed to be here that just aren't. And this mod, brings in a large number of those things, and it's not perfect. But you know, it's cool to see something that you love get fleshed out a little bit more, and I think that's really, really cool to see. So.
Sorry, phone was
going
no,
you're fine.
off.
You're fine.
But no,
go ahead.
Now I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Wumbo, you had one job. Gosh darn it.
No. But I was listening, and it's cool to see. Even though this was pretty much EA's fault, though, why the game had such a small window or such a small development window, right?
To my knowledge, EA wasn't associated with Star Wars in any way at that point.
Who published this game?
Well, because EA acquired the Star Wars license after Disney bought Star Wars, right?
After what?
After Disney bought Star Wars, or after Disney bought Lucas?
I thought Electronic Arts published.
To my knowledge, they didn't, but I could be wrong. Because this is back 2004, 2005. I think EA got the Star Wars license in like 2013.
Let me double check that. Oh no, it was LucasArts then. LucasArts, you done fucked up.
Well, and again, like it wasn't a bad game. It was just clearly there was supposed to be more than was actually there. Okay. And so it's hard to see. But you take people who love it and they go in and they add the stuff that people want to see, and not just that, but the stuff that was supposed to be there. And frankly, you know, had you not played the game before, I would wager that you probably couldn't tell that this was modded in. It fits almost seamlessly into the story and into the experience, and you know, visually it looks pretty similar. And you know, I messed around with it, and there are a couple. If you really know the game, there are a couple
of like weird things that should not be there.
Yeah, like there's this one conversation where, like on this droid planet, if you finish the main quest line, you can just spam the final conversation over and over to max out your XP. Like you get like 2,000 XP every time the conversation finishes, and like it's just hanging open the whole time. So there's a couple things like that are a little janky.
That's very, very strange. I think a patch would
yeah, and this that was 3 or 4 years ago when I did that. So you know, this may very well have been patched out. I don't know. But it's cool to see people care, and people to care enough that, you know, they don't need to be paid. They don't need to even really get credit for it, frankly. They just go and do something because they love it, and that's really, really special to see. So.
And that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, people should go play KOTOR 2. It's $10 on Steam at full price, and it's on sale all the time.
For free because of you. You gifted it to
every time it goes on sale. I buy like 10 copies just because I'm like, I just gotta give it to something. Because it's like $2.50 when it goes on sale, for God's sake. But I've probably given away somewhere between like 15 and 25 copies of this game, something like that. But no, Wumbo died.
No, I didn't die.
You still there? Oh, okay, cool.
No, I'm still here.
I was like, we've gone the whole time without losing feed. Like, come on, man.
No, you didn't lose feed. This place has better Wi-Fi than my place.
Gabe in the chat, didn't this game get achievement support? It did, and I got every single one of them. Every single achievement. The last one took me a long time because the achievement guide was kind of wonky, and there's this very specific permutation of a playthrough you have to do to get it. But anyways,
really,
yeah, it's one of these things where like you have to play as a certain alignment character that falls in love with a certain character, and another character has to hate you, and it has to be in that order. But no one said that, and it was a lot of trial and error. But I finally got it on stream actually. So, anyways. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Well, Wumbo, we're getting to the bottom of this here Gaming Etc. episode. But every episode, we end with a segment that is, shall we say, comical?
It's very comical, very strange. Also, we got a lot in the chat. I want to read that. If you don't mind.
Yeah, let's catch up.
But yeah, the very comical, very strange, and I love doing this part of the show.
Absolutely.
Let me see, before we do that, where did we end? Martha, God.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name, Wumbo? Why did you say that name? Where are they? Okay, sorry.
Shut up. I missed the show so damn much. Actually, it's been a while since I've seen you, Sam, so I actually would like to see you again.
It's been 87 years.
Although life kind of gets in the way.
The story life thing, man. I'll tell you what. It used to just be a serial, but now it's like you got stuff and things and stuff. Like, gee whiz, man. Gee whiz.
Gee Willikers.
Gee Willikers, Batman. Why did you say that? Okay, again, I won't do that anymore.
Yeah, this is a story of a host who cried a river and world, and it looks like sad photographs. I absolutely love him when he smiles. I think, is he referring to me?
I don't know, but Jacob, you need to shorten that.
That is I have not heard that song in a very long time.
I haven't heard that song ever, but Jacob, you need to shorten that hashtag.
This is the story of a girl Never heard that song?
No, never. Why doesn't he just do Jacob for gaming, etc.? Why is it Jacob third host gaming, etc.? That seems excessive. I'm just saying.
Also, yes, that was the person that you mentioned in the chat. Okay.
Why not just Jacob for GE? Jacob for GETC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're kind of known as gaming, etc. So, or just Jacob 3 game, GETC.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, didn't his game get an achievement support? Oh, sorry.
No,
is my favorite moment coming? Yes, it is coming.
It's here, Gabe. It's here.
J4GE.
Perfect.
Wait. Who? I think it should be J3, or whatever.
No, it's Jacob 4 gaming, etc. Like 4, like the word.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a better hashtag. Okay.
It's like a presidential campaign. It's like this is a non sequitur. Did you hear that Trump's 2020 slogan is "Keep America Great"? Did you hear that?
Excuse me for a second.
We're having technical difficulties. Sorry, folks.
No, I was about to smash myself in the head with a glass.
Oh no, no! I know. I was gonna cut your feed while you just screamed to the heavens, just no. But
considering I live right, considering that I can hear people in the other room, I'm not gonna do that.
Probably a good call. Speaking of things that are good calls, Wumbo.
Speaking of things that are good calls, I have a commercial called the Gamecom commercial. It's called, giving a little bit of history. This is a handheld that sold terribly, but the commercial is so goddamn weird that, I figured might as well show it to you guys. You might enjoy it.
I'm ready, Wumbo.
All right. Hit and play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play. This big experience, the Gamecom full E3 press conference.
Is there E3 held in an underground fight club?
I guess so, and they have this guy, this person who...
Is he standing on a man's back?
He's standing on a man's back because he can't reach the mic.
Play games and surf the net all day. Gamecom! Lay those bloodshot eyes on these babies! It speaks!
It has Duke Nukem. It's also looks like total garbage.
What year was this?
97, I think.
And it's grayscale?
Yeah.
Any questions? Doesn't play! How about compatibility?
I think these are valid questions.
Yeah, they're all valid questions.
Yes.
Gamecom,
and then it's totally...
system.
So this was like what? A bunch of executives were in a room and they were like, "That Game Boy thing's doing really well. How do we hop in there? How do we get some of that money?"
The company who made this was Tiger Telematics or whatever the fuck they're called. Okay. They made these little handhelds that were basically McDonald's toys based off of.
I remember them well.
Yeah, but think about it though. They're essentially the McDonald's toys for like Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever. But here's the thing: they were selling them in the late 80s and early 90s for $20 each, instead of them being McDonald's toys.
Yeah.
And then they decided to make a handheld game system, and it's.
Nothing was the Game Boy, Wumbo.
I guess so. They were clearly trying to copy the Game Boy, and also they put a fucking modem on this thing, but it was only text only.
Well, I mean, and again, business is kind of the lens I see a lot of things through, but I'm guessing the whole .com moniker was because the .com bubble hadn't busted yet.
Why not just use a computer, though? If you have it connected to you need to have it connected to a computer, so why not just use a computer?
Well, the mid-90s, not as many people had PCs as they do today.
But you had to use a computer to go on the internet with this thing. Yeah. Why not just use a computer?
I mean, a lot of people were experimenting with a lot of tech. That's still true today. I mean, you get stuff, like AR and VR, and everyone's just kind of shooting in the dark and seeing what's going to stick and what isn't. So you never really know till you know, but...
Well, begs to be touched. Thanks, Sam.
No
Sorry. This handheld system failed terribly, and this is one of the very few ads that exists for this thing, and it's just absolutely terrible. Funny enough, though, there was a port of Resident Evil 2 to this thing, and it's about as bad as it sounds.
And it ran in like grayscale and everything?
Yep.
Was it like 3D or was it a side scroller?
Yep.
It was 3D.
Okay, well, I mean, it was 2D presented in 3D, like 2.5D, I guess,
Wow.
and it had tank controls, and it looked like crap.
That's weird, man. That's weird as heck.
Very, very weird. And even Sonic was ported to this thing as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
If you want more history about this thing, then I can even say look up Classic Game Room on YouTube. They pretty much reviewed every single game on this thing, and they're all bad.
Coming soon to a CVS pharmacy near you.
Coming soon to a Sears near you.
Wah wah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Anyways, oh my God, that's really the slogan. Yep, that's the slogan. Jacob says Sam Dave Mustaine is really a Dave Mustaine. Is that the lead guy from Megadeth?
I think that's the brother of Dave Mustang, who turns into a horse during the full moon. I think. I'm not sure. I just heard that somewhere. So you can't.
We'll search that later.
Yeah.
Wumbo Colin see me IRL most recently. Or
Roll.
Damn.
Shots fired, Wumbo.
Yeah, that is some shots. Okay.
I will say moving out is probably one of the most stressful things you can possibly do is moving out of someplace and into a new place. So.
Feel more bad for my roommates as well because they had to move more stuff.
I mean, haters gonna hate, man, you know?
Anyways, do you want to call it a show?
Let's call it a show. Wumbo, what do you want to plug?
I want to plug, thank you guys for watching the Gaming Etc. podcast. If you guys like what you see here, please subscribe to me, subscribe to Nostal on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter. If you want to be a guest in the show, please message us or say in the chat as per usual.
Or tweet if you want hashtag J4GE because I don't know, maybe something comes from it. Who knows?
I also J4GE, of course. Go on to Jacob if you would like. Please put the link to the tweet that you mentioned beforehand for the poll that you're doing right now. Oh, I should also mention the secret word.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's favorite segment of gaming.
Everyone's favorite segment. Yeah,
I think I've picked a lot of secret words. I think you should give us one. What's the secret word this week?
Indigo.
Ooh, indigo.
You
know, true story. I was watching Community, and I think one of the characters uses indigo as a password and almost calls in an airstrike on the school. I'm pretty sure indigo was the password or one of the passwords.
Okay, maybe I should watch that show. I'm also should probably watch The Office as well. But
The Office is. I mean, The Office is on Netflix, so it's definitely worth it. Community, you got to get Hulu for, but it's Community's really Community is like a comedy for nerds. Like it's a very nerdy show.
Is it better or worse than Big Bang?
Oh, I didn't watch Big Bang. I saw a few episodes and I was like, I don't think this is very funny.
It's not really. I saw a couple episodes as well. It's not really for me.
Yeah, me neither. But Community,
I'm not really into sitcoms. Okay, I will keep that in mind. All right. That's pretty much it, guys. You guys have a great night. Take care, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Only thing I have to plug is I directed a comedy show this Friday called Late Night. The audio is terrible because we're having all sorts of issues because we always do. But small wonder, Wumbo, that when you run a live show, you have technical issues. Who would have thunk it?
Oh my God! A friend of mine had to do a fucking. He had to do like a fake newsreel,
sure,
or like not newsreel, a fake news report with him in a monkey suit.
Oh geez.
Yeah, and then it was supposed to be live. So.
Oh man, did they put the mic like in the suit or like what they?
I have no idea, but I want to watch it.
I don't know. That sounds
yeah.
Cool. Anyways, I'm putting the link to that in the chat. Again, the audio is not great. We're getting some echoes in parts of it, but if you want to see what I do when I'm not streaming, that's sort of what I do. And it was directed by yours truly.
Take a look at this.
Yeah, it was a good show. We had a good time. So, anyways, Gaming Etc. loosely is going to be back weekly as best as we can.
I forgot to mention something else to plug. Hopefully a short film that we're going to be releasing called Lightless. It'll probably be up on Vimeo next week. I'll put the link up when that happens.
God, you're so cool, Wumbo, with like you're directing short films and you're like hipster Vimeo video player that has better bitrate and compression than YouTube does. And God, you're such a LA filmmaker.
Well, yeah, you directed an entire live show.
Yeah, but I don't use Vimeo, man. Vimeo's like the hipster video player. Like
you kind of need Vimeo though for.
Well, Vimeo's video player is way better than YouTube's. The problem, I mean, this is like a was like a Betamax versus VHS kind of thing. Like Betamax is better, but VHS still won. So.
Yeah, true. Anyways, we gotta go.
Yeah, but yeah, once that's up, let us know, and I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. You guys have a great night and take care.
Take care. I'll be back in an hour and a half with Team Fortress 2. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. See you guys next week.
Bye.